Hello and welcome back to Sacred Vapes, the channel that aims to bring you the views and experiences of products on the market today, brought to you by an average vapor. Now this week I've got a review I've been really excited to bring to you guys, mainly because if you've seen the experience I've had with this company before, I really wanted to bring you a positive review. If you've read the title you know what I'm going to say, but it's this. The Advken Dark Mesh tank. So yeah, if you've been watching this channel for a while now, you would know that I ran the previous tank, the Advken Owl, as the worst sub-ohm tank of the year, and mainly because practical reasons, it just didn't function for me. Thought the vapor production compared to the juice consumption was completely off. The fill hole was awful. I had issues with the coils, and just the overall experience was just really negative with that tank. I just didn't think it functionally performed. So when I seen that Advken were releasing another tank, the Dark Mesh, I was really excited to pick it up because I wanted to bring to you, I thought, a yin and yang, be able to go from saying what the worst tank of the year is to really talk highly about this one. So how are my experiences with this, and are Advken actually making good tanks? Before we get onto all that, let's give her a vape. So this is the packaging. It's quite different to the old tank. It's much more simpler. As you can see, you get the links, your scratch code, your contents on the back, and that's about it. So we'll get her open now. You can see I ripped the box when I first got it, but you get your typical Advken box with the sort of semi-metallic connection. You get doctor's coil, just spare O-rings and whatnot. You get a little vape and share moment. You get, to get her out, obviously as you can see I've used this tank, but you get the tank itself. You get spare glass, a spare coil which I haven't used, as you can see, and you get a cleaning cloth. So that's pretty much everything that you get. So let's talk about the tank now. The tank itself is a 6mm capacity tank, comes with replaceable 810 drip tip. There we go. Comes bottom adjustable airflow, and it comes with a slide to open port, which you can see it's like a little ridge there. Push it back, there's your fill hole. Now what you can see there is a little ledge. I don't know if you can make it out, but there's a little ledge just there. I'll come back to that later on when we get talking about it a bit more. But the coils themselves, I'll show you the coil. They are packed up quite well. Didn't think that was going to come out the bag then. There you go. That's what the coils look like. Nice big round mesh coils. Just get her up to the camera. They are 0.15 rated between 50 and 80. That's for the single, and for this one, let's get the tank open. Tank's stuck inside there, but here we go. These are 0.15 again for the triple, and it's rated 80 to 110 watts. As you can see, it's had plenty of use, this coil. So that was the Advken Dark Mesh up close. We'll take it back up now and we'll get talking about it in terms of pros and cons. Welcome back. So that was the up close for the Advken Dark Mesh. We'll get talking about it now, and it's going to be interesting to see whether I actually like this tank or whether Advken are just not in the right market when it comes to sub-ohm tanks. So get into the pros and cons of it. First pro for me is going to be the flavour on this coil. It is absolutely excellent. I must admit, in a market that seems to be designed for lower powered sub-ohm vaping, around about 60-70 watts, 75 as an average, you know, it's quite rare to get a sub-ohm tank come out for 100 watts. You know, you have the Mesh Pro, but yeah, in terms of overall market, it's quite a rare thing these days. So at 100 watts, the flavour for this is absolutely fantastic, I must admit. You get a lovely vapour production, nice and thick. I say lots of flavour come through. I mean, I'm using French Dude in this, and I'm getting the full flavour come through. So yeah, flavour on these coils, absolutely fantastic. Next pro for me is going to be the capacity, 6 mils. Well, actually, I think it's a little bit different. I think it's 6 mils with this, with the other coil that's in the box, 5 mils with this. But yeah, I may be wrong on that, but so yeah, 6 mil capacity out of a sub-ohm tank that fires 100 watts. You know, it's fantastic. You know, it's gonna last you a little bit longer than your standard like normal tank would. And in terms of juice consumption, I'm trying to cover all the points of the owl tank here. And in terms of juice consumption, I'd say it's pretty good. I'd say for a 100 watt tank, I don't think it's drinking the liquid whatsoever. I think you're using it at a fair rate. So by the time you filled it up, it's what you would expect to have used in that time. So yeah, big pro of that. Next pro is going to be the airflow. Airflow's nice and wide, as you can hear. It's a little bit loud, as you can hear, but I wouldn't say it's loud in the unnecessary airflow way. You know, turn it right down. You're still getting pretty much that noise come through, but then again, as I say, you're putting 100 watts through this coil, you're going to expect it to sound a bit more powerful. Next pro for me, really like the design of it. I've said the same for the owl, but I really like the design of this tank. It's nice and simple. I love the fact of that little ridge, like I showed you in the up close. Just push back for the fill hole. Nice and simple. Love the drip tip on top, nice and big. And yeah, just overall, the only little niggle I have is that it's like a casing inside for the coil, but yeah, that's pretty much everything that I would want of a sub-ohm tank. Nice, simple design. So yeah, I think I've covered the flavour, the vapour production, the design, the fill hole. So we'll get into the cons of this tank now, and this is where it gets interesting. First con for me is going to be, I'd say, I'm just trying to think of one here. Good omen that. First con for me is going to be the fact that it's the fill hole. It's the only thing that, to be honest, I can't think of any other cons with this. It's the only thing that's drawing me to it. It's the fill hole design. As I mentioned in the up close, I was going to refer back to it, and now I am. It's that little ridge that you're seeing inside. What it seems to do is exactly what it did in the owl. Not as badly, but still, it makes filling this tank up an absolute nightmare. You really do have to tip it up and then slowly tilt it back. Now, I'm a sub-ohm vapor, as you know. I vape sub-ohm tanks, so I'm filling any tank up 3-4 times a day in my regular use. And when I say that this is an absolute nightmare to fill, hopefully you get some indication about that. You know, that bubbling inside can happen as soon as you start or when you get up to the top. Certainly if you've tilted it up and it starts filling at that point, and you will start getting it flooding up the top. And yeah, it's a really, really poor fill hole again from Advken. And I don't know why they keep designing them like that, because if you took that little ridge away, that little ledge inside, you wouldn't have any of these filling issues. As it stands, bubbling up is a major issue for me, and as I say, it just makes filling it up. What should be a 10-second job could take you like up to 5 minutes at its worst, depending on how temperamental it is. But in terms of other cons, I mean, the airflow being a little bit louder, maybe a con for you. It's a 28mm tank apparently, so it's going to sit a little bit bigger on your mods. But other than that, I can't think of any other real cons for this. So we'll get into the overall of it now. And overall, this is a pretty good tank. And this is exactly what I wanted to bring to you guys. A little story. When I first got this and filled it up, I had the filling issue and it was leaking out the bottom. And for a minute, I genuinely thought this was going to be another negative review for a tank. I was really fearful that I couldn't even get it to review. And I'd have to just do a little video telling you that. But since I've got over that initial thing, minus the filling, it performs really well. I really enjoy using this. As I said before, it's brilliant flavour, brilliant vapour production. It's just really enjoyable to use once you've got liquid inside of it. The fact that you've seen me vapor quite a bit more than what I normally do on a video shows you how enjoyable it is for me. I really think it would have been one of the best sub-ohm tanks on the market had they fixed that fill hole. As it is now, would I recommend this? Yes, I would recommend it on the basis that you are aware of that filling issue. If you buy it for performance, you're going to get something that's really good. The coil for me, I mean, a week and a half, 2 weeks, and it's still going. Can't complain at that. And yeah, it is a really good tank, this one. Well worth trying out, especially if you want something a bit more simple than a Mesh Pro tank. It's less intense, but you're getting more flavour come through as a result of it, which I think is a really good addition to the sub-ohm market. So yeah, that was the Advken Dark Mesh. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Coming up this weekend, we're going to have another entry in the pod series, something that hopefully you are really going to like. I mean, I've been using it over the past week and I've really enjoyed using it, so check that one out. And I've got another juice review, guys, coming up, so check that out as well. But as I always say, stay safe and keep vaping.